Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I formally welcome you, all of you, for this webinar on artificial intelligence. My first welcome goes to Engineer R. Senthil Kumar, Associate Director of CTS. Sir, welcome you, sir. I welcome all the participants of this program, and I welcome all our faculty members for this event. Let me introduce our guest of honor, Engineer R. Senthil Kumar is the son of the soil. Our college, Kamaraj College of Engineering and Technology, is in Kevellagulam. He belongs to that village only. He had his schooling in KVS Higher Secondary School. He done his diploma in Electronics and Communication Engineering from VSVN Polytechnic. Then he had his BE, Electronics and Communication Engineering from Mohammad Satak Engineering College. He started his career as system engineer in Microcon Instruments Limited, Bangalore. Then he moved to DSQ Software as senior system analyst. There he worked for 5 years. Then he was with HP Hewlett Packard as senior software engineer. Later on, he moved to HCL Technologies as associate project manager. Then he was with Wipro Technologies for quite a long time, for 9 years, in various roles like project manager, program manager, delivery manager. Presently, he is with CTS Cognizant since 2016 as associate director. It's very nice to have you, such a resource person, for our today's webinar. Without further delay, I hand over the session to Mr. Engineer R. Senthil Kumar. Sir, the session is over to you.
Thanks, Professor. Thanks for welcome. Welcome all the participants, students, professors. As Prabhakar already informed, I've been from the same village, Vellakulam. I've been working in this IT industry almost 25 years now. Predominantly, I was working, privileged to work top 5 IT companies all throughout my career. My role, predominantly, I right now kind of senior delivery manager or practice head. Right now, I'm working as a digital practice. You might be heard. There's a lot of initiatives going around the world in terms of digitalization, paperless activities. So I head the practice, particularly one of the tools. So that's my background. Yeah, let me start my presentation. Give me a minute. Hope you are able to see my screen.
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, thank you all. Okay. Let us take you through the artificial intelligence, basically introduction. It is a huge topic. It is difficult to cover in depth, probably in an hour or so. I hope a little flexible to have little extended time, if at all it takes more than an hour. We'll take you a little bit of day-to-day interaction what you guys have in AI applications. It will make you to understand the basics. That's the way I planned it. Let me take my agenda. So we can talk about understanding fundamentals of artificial intelligence. What is AI? How it works? How it is related to us on day-to-day activities? Where is our industries heading towards? We can talk about it. Post that, yeah, we'll talk about various systems around us, like your Alexa, Siri, various. We'll talk about it. There's a buzzword, right? So what is AI? What is ML, machine learning, then deep learning, and DS? There's a lot of confusion. People get tend to distinguish, is it different or it is same? We'll discuss more about it. We'll clear our doubts. Then I'll take you through deep understanding of machine learning. We'll have some examples we can try to see. how really the machine works, how it is, differentiate with the typical, programming languages, what we do traditional programming. Then we touch upon a little bit about deep learning, and we also touch upon something about neural networks. These are huge topics where most of the research in the industry is going towards neural networks and other things. We touch upon, we can't go details. Then I'll touch you about the languages we've been used predominantly in AA. I can also give you some study materials. You can use it for references for future studies. All right. Let me move on to next slide. Okay, understanding artificial intelligence. Okay, why AI? Actually, it's a buzzword. Wherever you see the entire world, there's a lot of discussion going on artificial intelligence. Basically, there's nothing without AI at this point of time. We see every industry, every segment, or we interact day in, day out. There is something working behind the scenes. AI systems are working behind the scenes. Let me give you some examples way it works. Talk about the industries, banking and finance, medical science, pharmaceuticals, products industries, aviations. When we move on, we will have discussions and examples in every items, and also the gaming, right? So a lot of gaming softwares we guys, students will play. There's a lot of intelligence being built across. You would have seen, computers playing with this, our masters in chess players. It's a blue gene is the one. So it is beaten our chess master Vishwanath, right? So that's how it has been planned, programmed. Machines can work with our even chess masters. Then reinventing the world, a lot of Google Maps, everything comes in. Okay. I'll give you a little directions or little insight on how banking segment works. If you go back 10 years, 15 years before, most of the banking operations were paper. It is used to have a lot of agents or clerks sit in the seat. In a moment you go for any check clearance or anything, they do a lot of transactions. It takes a little longer. You need to wait. Right now, the way banking system works, right? So everything is digitalized. There is a AI systems built in. So if you have, I'm giving example. If you're depositing a check, the check has to be collected from various branches, and it goes to a centralized place where various bankers, right? Your Canara Bank, State Bank, ICICI Bank sit together, exchange the checks, and they go back to our offices and check the accounts and clear those transactions. If it is been authenticated, money is there. Right now, the interest of various AA systems, all the checks being scanned, put together to AA system. Within a minute, it will check your bank balances, signature, anything standing instruction you're given, without and getting clear, without having the checks being transferred to central locations, prepared to validate. So now you see any check deposit, it gets credited to your bank account the next day. Still, it is because of you are dropping into a checkbox and it has to clear from your local banks. But the process is totally automated. Coming back to medical science, I think you see that a lot of COVID research happening. I do work with the various pharmaceutical companies, part of Cognition, where we do a lot of projects. One of the example I want to take it up, the medical pharmaceutical company AstraZeneca. They've been doing a lot of research in terms of getting COVID, COVID medicines or to discover. A lot of this is happening. So there are a lot of samples, data is being collected from various patients, and working on various combinations of medicines to bring your immune system or to give our things. So a lot of research happening in these medical systems. Earlier, if you look back few years before, to bring any immune system or vaccines to discover, it takes 3 to 4 years. Now that there's a discussion happening. We could able to get this vaccine probably in 2 to 3 months time. So there is a talks going on. We could able to get COVID vaccine in October, November time frame, right? This all because of the system and due to AIs. And also, if you look at Google, there's a lot of research happening in the Google in terms of how your retina scan can able to predict your future eye diseases, or you are going to have various things. So plenty of medical scans are your reports being put feed to a system. It is scientific feed. So moving on, you don't require to go to doctors. Mostly we go to doctors only we get symptoms. The way is revolving, it could be able to detect potential your health issues before getting to symptoms. Coming back to heavy industries, you've seen a lot of robots. It's been planned and executed in the production lines, where you would have seen robots are performing predefined tasks, replacing manual labors. Even there are places even humans can't go because of heat, humid, or things. Robots are involved. Still, it is all pre-programmed, robots to perform tasks. A lot of research happening in the industries to have robots can become intelligent robots, can perform tasks, thinking, taking actions indigenously without having manual interventions. Coming back to transports, aviations, aviation systems are very complex, where you have aviations, a lot of traffic happening, and it requires real-time decisions. We can't delay if there is an emergency system failure. You would have recently seen in Pakistan, there was a failure in terms of a landing system. It has crashed in Karachi. Those are things the AI systems are is being built how to detect before it hit this engine failure. It can direct this pilots to take necessary actions. These are in terms of how we can get into this industry. Okay, coming back to what it means for students, what it means for the right. I can confidently tell the entire world is moving towards AI. Not only these things, I can see there is a 10 million jobs going to be opened up in these areas, probably in a decade time. And coming the salaries, these are high pay salaries. Okay, it is not traditional programmers. They used to start with salary 3 lakhs or 4 lakhs. I could see most of the AI programmers getting this starting salary 10 lakhs, even India. Maybe guys can do a research on what is the demand and the market is looking for. All right. I'll move on to next slide. Okay. We touch upon various applications we have day-to-day interactions. One is missing translations. What is missing translation, right? So we speak, we have a lot of Google translators. It can able to translate what you speak into text, text to language, speech. Then speech recognition, whatever you speak, it can able to recognize and take actions. Alexa, Siri, and Google Assistants. These are the examples. And various facial recognitions has been built. Particularly, it has been used for defense as well. Your criminal systems, basically, your law enforcement agencies. You want to detect the criminals from your database. They just have huge amount of videos, screens across globe. They put in a system. They can able to detect this, particularly culprits quickly than searching for the mapping. Virtual assistants. Now we can see various call centers. If we talk about, if you want to have banking call center, you talk to them. A lot of virtual call centers being put across. You'll talk to IVR systems without having person is answering your call. We'll be able to get into our feeding your account number. We can talk to them, get the query on your bank balance, transactions. Most of the things, call centers have been replaced by AI-based virtual assistants. And chatbot is one of the other item which more intelligent VI. So if you want to transfer money from one person to other person from your account, from your mobile, it searches through all your details and transfer of money, chatbot. And then last thing is sentiment analysis. So in the recent days, there's a lot of research going on in terms of how do we understand human sentiments, emotions, able to predict, right? So even there is a latest robot build we'll talk next, identifying human emotions, sentiments, and react to that. So mostly, right? So based upon your sentiments, there's a product catalog or Amazon things. You depends upon various sensations you get, your birth anniversaries. You will see a lot of recommendation comes to your Amazon or Facebook. It's all based upon your sentiment analysis. Facebook's examples. Okay, let's talk about what is artificial intelligence. Okay, AI is creating computer systems, your mobile, laptop, or robot that has the ability to perform tasks like humans, or even better than humans, right? Humans has ability, we build capabilities based upon all our sensations, what we learn from our birth, on seeing, on smelling, on reading, various things. We could able to take decisions based upon our learnings, but AI is basically creating computer system to behave like a human and better than human. Yeah. So the machines or software having human intelligence, such as image processing, speech recognition, decision making, translations, bring those abilities, becoming AI. I give some real examples in our day-to-day life. The first one is basically your Google Translator, Siri, and Google Assist. What's the time Google? Google, it gives answers, right? Siri, what is the distance between Chennai and Madurai? Is giving answers. So a lot of various systems works in a mobile to bring those responses. The second one is a humanoid robot. It was developed in 3-4 years before. The robot is named Sophia. This robot can sense or emotions and also can able to react to the emotions. It is a supercomputer kind of things. It was developed in Hong Kong, one of the lab. The next one is your self-driven car. There's a lot of research going in Google and Tesla to have cars in the road without having drivers. It can detect the sentiments, it can detect the surroundings, and based upon the surroundings, it can make decisions. The next thing is self-driven drones. You're going to see in a lot of research and a lot of military-based drones being effectively used in terms of detecting these terrorists in hideouts in Africa. You would have seen recently one of these terrorists being killed by using a drone. Likewise, if you can set the target, that drones can navigate on its own, identify the target, and it can eliminate the target. It's all based upon AI implementations. I'll give a pause for a minute. You can just think through any other items in your detailed life. We can talk more details later. Okay. Yeah. We talk about AI systems. Okay, let's see what is intelligence. Intelligence can be defined one of the capability in understanding, capability in self-awareness, capability in decision making, and capability in solving problems. All these are based on humans' intelligence. We learn by the course of our sensations, what we learn through all your 5 organs. Okay. How do you make your machine as AI, artificial intelligence machines? It is commonly implemented using computer programming and software. So we'll write a program or software to train your machines computer systems to behave the human behavior, to act intelligence, even more than what human can perform in terms of in terms of decision making. There are limitations what we can perform within a short span in terms of our processing speed. The machines can process in a very quick span. There were few case studies, particularly in terms of reading a lot of documentation in legal systems, going through thousands of legal documentation to understand the legal proceedings, which could have been resolved in a few minutes by a AI system, which has huge processing power. Okay, what makes human intelligence? Already touch upon. Humans can do reasoning, right or wrong, and we can learn from the knowledge base, and we can perceive inferences, and we can solve problems, and we can able to linguistic between the various languages, scripts, based upon our learning, right? So what makes machines intelligence? We apply all those aspects in terms of machines, make those machines intelligence. Okay, let us take you through a few more examples and see how it works around us. There are two basic AI approaches. One is the logic and rule based, particularly the robots. The robots basically works on logics, and what are the rules? It's already been programmed. It is limitations. In the early days, in 1950s, this whole the robots been built. Anything you want to inject a new logic, new rules, we have to start writing a new program. Then second thing is pattern based. We have seen self-driven car where you need to do a lot of programming, right? So you ensure this self-programming, self-learning by writing AI programs. It will have the own logics. It will create its own rules based upon the data. And Google Translate. There's a lot of translation you can write between your Tamil to English, English to Hindi, any languages. It is not explicitly doing a word-to-word translations. If you go back and see how it works, there's a lot of data has been fed into the system. It has learned through its algorithms. It will try to match the patterns, which is very close to what you speak, and it will try to give you responses. That's how it works. It is not directly one-on-one transaction happening in translations. Okay, a few other systems, what you say, we all have, everyone has Alexa at home. It uses voice recognition the technique. They say, Alexa, please turn on my light. It turn on the light. Alexa, please turn on, please book me cab. It is going to book the cab from your records of searching the nearest cab drivers, all the details. Alexa, please order a large pizza. It will look at the stores around you, take the orders and place the orders and give it to you. So one of the typical AI system we do day by day. Taking back to Google traffic predictions, we all use Google Traffic or Google Maps for getting directions. If you want to go from Madurai to say Chennai, I want to put a map. So you guys could have seen it, your Google Maps come back various options, option 1, option 2, option 3. It will run various algorithms background. It will try to route various points, Madurai to Chennai, through Trichy, or through Dindigul, Salem. It will give you all the routes. All probable routes it will get through. It will also try to get the real-time data from your satellites, and it will give you recommended directions to take, right? And also it's going to give you where there's a traffic congestions, you can take diversions. It's all happening because of huge AI systems is working behind Google Maps in Google. Okay, Coming back to another example, we use Amazon. I think most of us place orders in Amazon's. You would have seen product recommendations where when you're placing an order and it will go on search in the background. There are persons. I'm just going to buy a probably iPhone and a headset. The moment I place order, it also gives recommendations. Those persons place orders also bought Bluetooth along with that, right? And because it builds this, yeah, hope you are able to see my screen. I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible.
Okay,
Your,
thanks.
your screen
I'm
is
not
not
sure.
visible. Yeah, now it is
Oh,
visible.
1 second.
Screen is visible now.
Okay, thanks, Provas. Okay, I'm not sure where I left. Probably I'll resume from the last slide. I hope we covered this. So knowing what is AI, we want to go a little deeper in terms of what is AI with respect to machine learning and what is deep learning. How these three systems interconnected or interlinked, we can talk future slides. Okay. We've seen what is AI. AI is a branch of computer science that helps create intelligent machines that simulates a human behavior in terms of sense. We can sense, reasoning, we can act and adapt. This is basically AI. To reach those actions to behavior, to train those machines, we need to have system like machine learning. So machine learning is subset of AI. It makes your AI systems to behave without explicitly programming, without having human intervention to do activities and tasks. How it possible to make it? There's a large set of data has been fed into systems. Your ML algorithm trains itself over a period of time. It's been trained. Then coming back to deep learning, we little bit of ML algorithm works on algorithm. It works on tasks, but to achieve various aspects in terms of getting trained itself or getting trained in depth level, it required a kind of neural multi-layered network system to achieve few activities like your voice recognition, which is it is not a digital data. It is a lot of impulse. Hope you guys heard noise system. No, it is not zeros and ones like Boolean. There are a lot of data involved in terms of when we want to decode a audio or video files. So it requires multi-layer analysis, multi-layer algorithm to bring and interpret those details. So this is what deep learning coming in. Basically works on multi-layer neural networks. Neural networks relate to our brains, which is neural systems, which has multi. It has been tons of our neurals being networked to make decisions. Put across all this together is a data science where there's a lot of huge amount of data put together. We'll apply various techniques, ML, DL, AL techniques to analyze the data, make decisions. So what is data science? Is all anything deals with the data is data science. How do we deal? There's a ways to deal those data by using ML algorithm, DL processing, DL networking. I hope it makes a little clear. I'll give a little different picture of what we discussed earlier. So we know A is a superset, underneath ML is a subset, and DL is again a subset. Put together all as a data science, right? So we have seen rule-based reasoning. Basically, your robots work rule-based reasoning. And machine learnings, we have seen machine learnings and deep learnings we discussed. Natural language processing, the way we do translations from language to language, interpreted language, right? This all comes under NLP. And machine visions, we seen your surveillance system, how it works by using a machine visions, like your drones or aviation systems, all works on machine visions, where you will capture the images, process the images, and takes action based on that. We talk about speech recognition, speech to text, text to speech is all speech recognitions. And lastly, robots, and also we spoken about autonomous vehicles. There's a self-driven car without having a drivers. So it's a bigger set. It all comes together as a data science. How it deals, the ways to make it data science and interpret is our AI systems. We use ML and DL and NLP algorithm to achieve those aspects. Okay. Now we know in a larger picture what is AI, what is DI. Now let us go a little deeper in terms of ML. What is ML? How do we train your machines, your systems to do accomplish the task? Okay. Yeah, we heard a lot of things about data. So machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, which gives a machine the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed. So data is the key and the learning algorithm. Okay, the way it works, two aspects for ML is one is data, second is learning algorithm. We're not going to program your ML system the way it has to be. It has to be trained to behave the algorithm, trained to create more algorithm so that you will get predictable results. Okay. See, we are all programmers. I think most of engineering graduates do computer programming. So C, C++, Java, whatever the program you do. Let us talk about how your EA programming is going to be differ from traditional programming like we do in day-to-day. Okay. See, the traditional programming, we'll write logic, we'll write algorithm. Basically, algorithms are rules, and we'll feed the data. It is going to give me results as a output based upon my rule which has been programmed, right? I will give a simple example. I am going to program my algorithm program. If there is I'm going to program for a car. There is a 4 wheels plus steering wheel. Maybe the shape is kind of oval, it become a car. I'm going to program it, right? So only whatever logics I have implemented in my programming, it is going to execute and going to give results. The moment I introduce something new which is not programmed, you know what will happen? Your program throws exceptions. It will quit. It will right. So it doesn't have any intelligence to do. Something is not been trained. Something is not been programmed in your logics algorithm. The way AI or ML differs, right? There are two phases. You don't program the way it has to behave, but you will train your system. You will train your machine to understand, arrive some algorithms based upon your training data, right? So what is the inputs will feed a lot of data, real-time data into the system, and you will give the end results, right? As I said in the example, we want to train my ML to identify car, right? So I will feed various cars, various brands, Toyota, Maruti, Hyundai. Various variant, right? It is not it has SUVs, hatchback. I'll put in all variant of my car into the system as a data, and I want to have with the data set, right? Huge data set. I am feeding thousands of cars pictures in the system. I want to detect a Maruti maybe I want to detect item, right? So the system is being trained. Basically, you feed the answer also. Your system is being trained, or it writes algorithm to come up the rules to identify from the given data set how to detect a Maruti item or Hyundai item, right? So it has a self-trained. You need to train your system. We'll discuss a little deeper when you go further. And next is inference phase. We talk about, right? So I'm going to feed, once your system has been trained, now I'm going to feed the data. I'm going to put I10 car. I want it should predict I10. It should not predict I20. So more you trained, more data you'll feed, your prediction is going to be more accurate. You look at the way you day-to-day interact with the AI systems. Now we talk, even if we are talking each other, we ask questions, right? Can you repeat? Go and talk to Siri or Google Assistants. Very rarely it asks, no, repeat your question, right? You try to predict what you are trying to say. So if your system is more robust or more trained, your prediction is accuracy. So the system is expected to behave 97% accuracy if it is being deployed to system into the machines. Okay. So how it works, how to train your ML AI system. It works on two items. We spoken about training data, huge amount of data we spoken about. How do we feed a lot of cars images to the system? Then based upon your car images, you will write an algorithm, train the algorithm. It will create a clusters and models. Basically, it will create a clusters and models. And the moment you feed a item data, it use the existing algorithm predict this item. The moment you are feeding I10, it is going to give me I20. Your algorithm is not correct. It has to be refined. You have to feed few more data, train your algorithm, and create a few additional models to detect your system. So basically, coming back, machine learning algorithm is trained using training data to say the create the model. We spoken about I10 is the example. When new inputs are introduced, right? So yeah, we talk about what is being introduced. The moment something is, we are feeding new inputs which is not been trained, your system, the ML system, will try to train itself, put in the clusters of what is already been detected, trained, and map to the model to the nearest clusters. The prediction is based upon evaluation on accuracy. So if our accuracy is not acceptable, we need to train your algorithm again and again until it is reach the desired levels. We've spoken about it. Okay. Yeah. So we've spoken what is ML, how to train. Now we can talk about various types of ML algorithms. How do we train? Predominantly, there's a three broader aspect we can classify how we can train ML algorithms. One is supervised learning. The second is unsupervised learning. The third is reinforcement learning. We'll talk each and every one of these items in details when we move on. Okay. So we'll take example of supervised learning. We'll give a simple example. So what is supervised learning? Yes, supervised learning can be considered that learning is guided by a teacher. We can have a data set as a teacher, and it's goal to train the model or machine. Once the model is get trained, it start predicting or making decisions with a new data set. Look at the example. Here we want to train your system, this is a system, to teach about Apple, right? There's a teacher here. We are going to teach at least 4 examples of Apple we put across. So we'll train system image 1 is apple, image 2 is apple, image 3 is apple, image 4 is apple. So in the supervised learning, the data set is being labeled, right? We have given name to the data. The images, what you see is apple. Once this is been trained, now we are going to give a test data. So the moment you give a test data, so it will look at your trained data and you try to match the test data is apple, right? So I'm giving a test data, something new. So we already trained with the four examples, 4 samples. So it is trying to match, maybe something is new here. This is not been trained, so it is going to give me this data is apple. It is not 100% because something is new introduced. It can give a confidence that it is 97% is apple. This has been trained, and the moment is to give as many apples, it is going to give me label is all this data are apple, right? It's a supervised learning. We'll talk about few examples how it is works, right? We all use Google, and you are seeing a lot of spam classifiers, how you'll define your spam emails, right? There's an engine is running, Google spam classifier engine, all right? It has a very predefined set of rules. How do we classify? And you also mark the moment you get some kind of spam emails or some kind of marketing emails comes in, the Google let you to mark those emails as a spam, and next time onwards similar emails come, you look at the text, what is in the email. It has very unique characters, some catchy characters, which is not going to be a typical day-to-day email transactions. It learns, system learns itself. If you are exposed to more and more such emails comes in, it will put those emails into spam folders. Okay, now let's talk about the next system, unsupervised learning. So the second set of learning, we don't have any teacher or anything like labeled objects to train a system. But how it works? It works looking at the data which has been exposed by observing, finding a structure between the data. Once the model is given, it finds a pattern. It finds the relationship between the data sets and it creates clusters. And what it can't do, it can't add labels. It can't name the data. But it can separate. Looking at the example, we have apples, we have bananas, and we have oranges. How you are going to train your ML? Basically, it is going to categorize. It is going to look at the features, look at the structure, look at the resemblance. These are the ways you can categorize. But we never told this is apple, this is orange, this is banana. We never been taught. But looking at this data, it will try to bring clusters. I go to Spain. So it classified and grouped the data sets into 3 clusters. We had 4 apples in the previous screen. Put all the apples together in a one cluster, one set, and bananas been put in another set, and orange has been put in another set. The way it looks, this data set cluster 1 is different from cluster 2 and 3. There's no resemblance, or there's no, or I would say there's a more variations, right? There's a way it is being categorized and put in clusters. What it can't make, it can't have any label to it. My ML system doesn't know it is apple or orange, but it knows these are the same set of items. Hope it be clear. I'll give some examples in our typical slide. I hope you all use Netflix. Netflix has recommendations. So how the recommendation engine works? It has a different serials, movies, various channels, sports channels, lot of things, right? The way we start, if in the moment you start looking over, probably you want to see a movie, probably from lead actress, you start clustering those actors into one cluster. Maybe sports channels, anything related to sports, it will put into different sports cluster, and the movies into different clusters. The way we preferred, we start working or start listening preferences, it will start putting into clusters, start giving recommendations based upon our choices, right? So move on to next one is basically reinforcement. So this one works differently. There are some real-time scenarios where it has to be, we are going to expose in a new environment. So there is an agent and there is environment. So agent continue to monitor the environment and try to find what is the desired outcome. It will follows a trial and hit method. When I say trial and hit, it is kind of a trial and error method. It not necessarily always it will get a outcome is positive. There could be outcome, undesirable outcome can also possible. The way it works, your agent is rewarded pointers. When your outcome is correct, it has a positive point is being assigned to the trial. When the outcome is negative, it will give a negative pointer to the trial, right? So it will do a lot of trials and it will navigate based upon trial point. It will himself train. We'll take a real-time example how it get trained. So I am having a self-driven car is an agent, and there is environment on the road. So there is a barricade. So your agent observed the road. So looking at the current scenario, your agent can decide he can go straight or can go take a right. But you can see a barricade and say this road is closed. So there's a policy, right? There's a two policies he can take. He can go straight or he can go right, right? So I'll make your agent make a choice. It's a hit and trial method. The moment it takes a choice going straight, it is going to bang on the barricade. It is going to collapse. So your system is going to give you negative credit points, negative pointers. Basically, it's called reward or penalty. So it is a negative, it is a penalty. It is positive, it's a straight, right? So your system retrained again. So whatever action taken is not correct. So you are going to reverse the actions. Now it's going to take it a right directions. Maybe move your car to right, move into right. So now it is going to give you positive pointers. So the moment it identify a new pointer, it is going to give you update the policy, train your system. So a typical Google car, Google test-driven car, it's been working on this reinforcement model. Yeah. So looking at the current scenarios, you have two major investments going in the industries. Tesla is also building a car, self-driven car, and Google also building a self-driven car. What kind of data it can have? It can have objects. You can have car in the car. Animals can come in. It has to sense surroundings, right? This is an agent. Your agent is your car. It is sense your environment. There could be person can cross the road. Animals can cross the road. Object can move away from your target, or object can come towards that. So there's a lot of data, real-time data is being processed by your agent, and it can take wise decisions when you want to navigate further, or you want to stop, or you want to go in directions. So one of the highly sophisticated AI system is self-driven car. There's a lot of legalities is being under trial past 3-4 years, but still we are not reached the state where it 100% it is accurate. It can be deployed in the roads. Okay. Yeah, in a sum up, I am trying to give various topics we've seen, types of machine learning algorithm we have seen, supervised. And I think you all engineering graduates, you have learned various regression techniques, decision tree classifications. Those who wants to go a little deeper, I have given references. No, they can go, each section has different algorithms to train your systems, right? Regression, it uses linear and polynomial systems, and decision tree. I think the engineering graduates have learned these systems during the third semester, fourth semester mathematics, right? And supervised is a clustering technique. It's a SVD, PCA, and K-means. It's all a mathematical model. And association analysis, basically how do you relate between the two items, right? APRI and FE growth items will use it. And reinforcement, basically a trial and error. So we try to continuously use those mathematical models, all those items, and categorize it. Just to sum up, maybe you guys are interested, you can go a little deeper into each items. It's a huge area. Okay. Okay. Now we know what is ML, and we'll talk about what is limitations here. Your entire ML algorithms works on the data. So more you expose the data, your ML algorithm is going to be more accurate. The limitations are, the moment of data has been adding, your system is going to underperform, it is going to delay. So there is a limitation of how much data we can expose, right? And again, then another drawback is mostly, how do we diagnose some errors or corrections, make corrections. Once algorithm has been written, we are exposing to new scenarios or new data. When it fails, it is very difficult to debug. It is not, we can put a debug and we can identify where the issue, but totally it is self-trained. It is very difficult to debug, analyze, and where it is failures. It's not typical way of your programming languages. And lack of creativity. So if you are writing a model for one set of domain or one set of things, it can be exposed to different set of algorithm, right? It can be, the moment I am exposing to things, it's going to be biased. It is not going to act accordingly. So it is not creative. If I am writing an algorithm for detecting car, this algorithm can only use it for car. I can't use it for detecting buses, right? So I need to create a new algorithm for detecting bus. So the learning process time consuming. We need to put a lot of historical data. So these are the limitations of ML algorithms. To overcome these limitations, there are new set of technologies, algorithms being built, which is called DL and NL. We can talk about it. Okay. So we'll talk about deep learning. So deep learning is a machine learning method on learning data by representation. It is not by data alone. It will look the data and representations, and it is not task based or algorithm based. It teaches the computers to do what naturally a human can do. So basically what you see is a deep neural networks. So the way our neural networks, our brain works, there are a lot of organs or a lot of neurons are interconnected. Your various organs been so one of the layers is being given output to other layer. So a lot of neuron processing happening to get those senses what we see here. One second. So how do we train such kind of data where we can multi-layered concept is been involved? I'm going to give a simple data set. It's a one phase given to the system. This is my deep learning system. See, this system try to categorize my data, create as many data representation from particular image, edges, nose, our eyebrows. It is going to have so many layers of representations, and it is trying to combine those edges. First, identify edges, and it will try to combine those edges, and it will try to simulate as many data sets on its own. It is not necessary I need to give as many images for a female picture. At the moment I put those picture, my system itself trained such a way that it creates so many variants of my images. It will try to create objects of these models. The moment you put one more female pictures, it can able to identify this a female, right? Basically, it will try to apply various activities which our neurons, our brain will try to emulate by using neural networks. It's a deep topic. There's a lot of algorithms involved, mathematical algorithms involved to go this, right? So how it does, it will create an object into multi-layers, and say hidden layer 1, and hidden layer 1, it split those images into in terms of edges. This edges outcome take it to next layer of combining. See, each network has combination of other nodes, they call nodes. Try to have as many nodes and try to arrive at various patterns. Look at this, it has various patterns of images it can bring in. You can have multiple noses, multiple eyes, right? All those combinations you put in next layer, and it gives a feed to next input. It will try to create a hidden layer, a third layer. How many images it can arrive from this particular hidden layers, this become outcome. Okay. So let us take a few examples. We have seen how it works. Your Alexa. Alexa is one of the typical example of your deep learning. It uses a lot of neural networks models to arrive your speech recognition. We do speak different accent, the way we speak different speed, right? But how the system identify whether, so even within ourselves, right? So if we talk Indians, if you go to Kerala speaks little different this way they spell, pronounce. A lot of neural network algorithm has been built to derive, to interpret your languages. It means it interpret your data sets. Huge amount of data set being fed to the system. Huge millions of trillions of data has been fed to the system. It takes the samples. It uses all your clustering techniques, all your reinforcement techniques to match your way of speaking to the nearest which has been data set. It is trying to interpret from there. Okay, next is neural networks. It is again, it is subset of deep learning what we've seen. It is one more layer further drill down to your deep learning. It breaks down your layers into multiple abstractions. It is one level, multiple level down your deep learning. It consists of input layer, one or more hidden layer as output. So your input layers, whatever goes to input, it will become output layer for next layer, and all your nodes which are interconnected, and it will try to combine those nodes, multiple inferences. We have seen the images how multiple noses, multiple eyebrows has been arrived by using single picture. And it will perform the calculations based upon all combinations of it is derived. There is a lot of statistical and mathematical calculations. There are algorithms being used to derive the outcome, solve the problems. I think I'll stop here. I think we learned basics. Now we'll talk about what are the toolkits available, what are these typical programming languages we can use it for AI systems. Okay. Predominantly, I know you guys know doing programming C, C++, Java, few other programmings. These are the basic programming languages. It doesn't have toolkits, but modern tools like modern languages like Python, MATLAB, or R, most of the systems being written over in C and C++ Java programming languages. Those languages has rich set of libraries, toolkits, where we can use your easy to build, easy to train your models without writing long programs, right? Maybe if you want to achieve using C, C++, you may write 20 lines of code, but it can be achieved by using single command in Python. And there are few specific languages are common for specific set of activities. MATLAB and Octave is other programming language predominantly used for signal processing, speech recognition items. There is a language called R. Basically, anything you want to interpret visual data processing, R language has been used. See, these are the predominant languages, but if you see Google in the search, there will be a lot more languages being there. But these three items are dominant languages being used for AI systems. And also to achieve, there's a lot of predefined libraries being available, deep learning libraries. The one which I listed as are very popular, commonly used. TensorFlow, PyTorch, and Theano. These are the dominant libraries which is being used. You guys, anybody wants to Google it, you can Google it and learn a little more. Okay. There are few topics, few references I would like to put across, which will help the guys who wants to learn self-learning from scratch. There are good amount of courses available in the market in Google, in the internet. I am just listing down some of these the very good courses which will take you to deep into understanding, start writing programs, start writing your own models. Something like Coursera, and the author is Andrew Ng. He's one of the AI architect, dominantly written a lot of programs. This is course mostly it is for free for students. You guys can enroll if you give your student ID or something. Most other courses are free. It has a maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It has a durations. It also gives you how to start writing programs, samples and things. Coursera is one of the best course I would say. I also learned some basics using Coursera courses. Then there is go to Udemy. There's a lot of training materials, training languages are in Udemy. You can start this using Udemy course also as a basics to understand your programming languages. So a lot more training materials available in the net, but you can use as per your levels. Wherever you want to deeper into it, you can go through this materials. But what is listed down is dominantly used by most of the researchers or whoever wants to do studies. Okay. To give us some example, I have a kid. He's a second year in IIT Kharagpur. He did these courses probably 6 months before he was exposed. He's used these courses self-study. Now in 6 months time, he started writing a lot of AI programs, and he started doing a lot of internship for leading IT companies. He used this opportunity as a lockdown, classes are down. We have working from home or studying from home. Just within 3-4 months, he could be able to learn a lot of things. I hope it will be useful for the guys in second year, third year engineering graduates, where you guys being exposed to some of the mathematical or statistical analysis models, which would get referred in these courses. It is a prerequisite for understanding these models. So if you are in the third year of your engineering, you can start learning these self-learning courses. I will stop here. Maybe Prabhavan sir, maybe any queries we can open up. We can feel free to answer them.
Yeah, Sandil, it's nice. Your presentation is nice. There is a question. Is Alexa dangerous?
Alexa,
Hello, am
dangerous?
I audible?
Yeah, you're audible. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
depends on the
Sarmista Basu.
yeah, it depends on the context, right? Alexa has been built a lot of intelligence, right? So I use Alexa last 2 years. I have not seen anything dangerous or anything unwanted results it has given. Go to a lot of Western countries. Most of our activities, right? Booking my calendar, taking appointment to doctors. Most of them are done by Alexas. They've been highly used using Alexas. So the research says, at least to my knowledge, nothing like that dangerous.
Yeah, thank you. I hope it serves the purpose. One more question. Which platform is most preferable, MATLAB or OpenCV?
It again depends upon the context, right? So which area you guys wants to explore? See, OpenCV also one of the languages. MATLAB basically used for signal processing, voice data, and thing, right? So Python is generally used for various Python and OpenCV used for general programmings. And there's every toolkit has its own advantage and drawbacks. So based upon your toolkit or your usage, you have to choose the languages. So Python has rich amount of toolkit and libraries. It covers most of them. Yes. Did I answer the question?
Hello?
Yeah, did I answer the question, Prabhas sir?
Yeah. It is well said. Venkatesh has asked one question, Mr. Venkatesh. Jobs about studying the AI course. What type of jobs you will get? That like that he has framed the question.
Okay, it's a good question. So I'll give an example in terms of data analytics used in these finance industries. So lot of research jobs in finance industries based upon data. We do stock marketing, trading, trend analysis, right? So I'm just giving example, right? So every industry has data analytic jobs in the market. See, you see a lot of researchers, a lot of labs where this AI guys join, they become a data analyst, a data scientist, right? So you'll try to do, say, I'm giving example, stock market analysis. Look at your NSE and your BSE trends, day-to-day activity, sales, volume, the news in the market, industry trend, right? Lot of sentiments, lot of data. It will capture the systems based upon those decisions. Your recommendations whether to buy the stock or sell the stock. I'm just giving one example how it is, right? You see lot of data analysts, lot of analysts are recommenders, right? They get paid jobs to give recommendations for your end users to buy stocks or sell stocks. What is the long-term trend? What's the short-term trend, right? So a lot of folks get into those kind of business. Financial is a major sector. Lot more jobs in terms of job market. Nevertheless, every segment has data analyst, AA and ML programming. We've spoken about pharmaceutical, we've spoken about aviations. Every segment has a lot of investment going on in terms of building the systems most robust, more self-trained, less human interference system, right? Look at that way, 10 years before, we had a lot of call center jobs, right? The way 10, 20 years before, when I started my career 25 years before, I started writing a COBOL programming, or we started writing a machine language 95 I'm talking about, no, PLC programming to give commands for programming. So what happened? There's a evolve one, industry's been evolved, technology evolved. We all moved to software based or desktop based. We started writing a lot of programs for the softwares, desktop based softwares. Then later towards your mobile era, we started writing a lot of programming for omni channels. We write programming for write one program. It can work for various devices, right? Or mobile, tablet, desktop, omni channel programming. And every program we get written in the 10, 20 years before, it has been replaced by omni-channel programming. Probably we're not changing the business layer, we may be changing the front-end layer, the way it is perceived from the end-user perspective, right? Now coming back, the next era is going to be most intelligence programming. It is not the programming. You are making your systems to be more robust, more intelligence. Without your programming what to do, you are going to train the program to behave anything new that has been introduced, right? So every segment it has been every segment or industry is getting into the job opportunities for ML programmers. Hope I answered your question.
Yeah, thank you. One more question from Monica. Please give tips that how can we apply machine learning or deep learning in STEG analysis?
Okay, it's a very specific question. I am not a programmer. Probably I'm a consultant. Probably I would ask someone, my kid, to answer. Give me a minute. I'll see if you can answer that.
Yeah. Okay, Senthil sir, there was one more question from Venkatesh. I will like to answer that during my vote of thanks, because that is regarding the studying fees for AI course. Okay, so we have come to the last part of this session. It is vote of thanks. I first of all thank our resource person, Engineer Senthil Kumar, for sparing his valuable time for us and clearly explaining the in and out of artificial intelligence. We already know that artificial intelligence is a very vast topic, but we have forced him to cut short his talk to 1 hour. So within this 1 hour, he has covered almost all the areas which were in artificial intelligence, like machine learning, deep learning, neural network. The live examples were excellent. It was explained clearly about the importance of this part of computer science. This area is going to boom like anything, and it will give an opportunity for current engineering students to have a greater career. As engineer Senthil Kumar predicted, there is going to be more than 10 million jobs in this AI domain in near future. Surely, this cannot be filled with existing engineers, as it is proved that unlearn and relearn process is very tough one. Instead, fresh engineers will find it easy to adopt this requirement and they can move on to this domain. This requirement is rightly felt by our college management, and from this year onwards, we from Department of Computer Science and Engineering, we are introducing a new course named Bachelor of Technology, Artificial Intelligence and Data Science. So I hope Monica, Venkatesh, I answered your question. The fee structure and all other things you can add from our college. So I thank the resource person once again. Thank you, Mr. Senthil. I thank our college management for providing the opportunity to interact with the students.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Thank
through
you.
This medium. I thank our HOD, Dr. Indra Devi Madam. I thank my HOD, Dr. Indra Devi Madam, for her guidance and support. I thank our principal, Dr. Anantachari, Vice Principal Madam also. In our department, we have a team of faculties, those who are working behind this online events, right from registration, certificate designing, and all other things. I thank each members of this team for their support. So thank you very much. Have a good day.